Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday from Arnie's. Happy birthday to you.
This is Alan Karpik with an old friend and a person I've known since 1982, but Ray Wallace. Ray, celebrating the big birthday today, a young 57. I think you could still lace it up. I don't know if that's I don't know if you would agree with me on that, but welcome to the Arnie's Birthday Zoom, and Ray, happy birthday to you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I think it's we've had a lot of fun doing these this year, and it's always interesting to get somebody on their actually on their birthday. You grew up in Indianapolis, and what is, as your family growing up, what kind of birthday traditions did you have? And of course, this is in the middle of the school year, and you probably were playing high school basketball around that time too. But tell me about what your family, how you celebrated birthdays in your household.
Well, at the very least, we had a birthday cake.
Yeah.
And one with candles on it, and maybe got a few gifts or something like that. But usually, my schedule was so busy, we couldn't go out to dinner or anything like that. But my mom should make me my favorite, whatever it was, and we all sit down, and the main thing, we always spend our birthdays together. So.
Yeah. Tell me about you. And growing up, you had how many? Do you have brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I had two sisters.
Okay.
And one was the oldest sister. She lives in Atlanta. My youngest sister used to live in Atlanta. She coached at Purdue. I don't know if you probably don't remember that, but she was the track coach, one of the track coaches.
Yeah, absolutely,
yeah. When they won the first Big Ten championship.
That's right. I totally forgot about that. Right. Yeah.
And then she went on to Eastern Washington and coached there for a long time. But unfortunately, she recently passed away in 2019. So
yeah, that's I'm sure was a very difficult thing. But I do remember her and her coaching experience at Purdue.
Yes.
Tell me about you got to Purdue. You were very highly recruited, one of the best players in the state of Indiana. And, everybody wanted you. Leon Burtnett was the head coach at the time, or about to be his first year as the head coach. Mm-hmm. Tell me about your recruitment and how you ended up getting to Purdue.
Well, I was very fortunate, had a lot of opportunities. My first recruiting trip was to Notre Dame, and I liked it, enjoyed it. And the guys were great, and they had everything. That time they were great school and kind of the like Alabama is now.
Yeah.
They had that kind of talent and everything. So I went there. I liked it, enjoyed it. Then when I went to Purdue, and the whole process was overwhelming for me. So I was a young kid. I was kind of shy. Yeah. And so, I was supposed to go out to, Stanford and UCLA, and then I think Arizona State and Ohio State as well.
Yeah.
And back then you could go to 6 schools, and I just, I got overwhelmed. But when I went to Purdue, I just felt comfortable, Yeah. And, Leon made me feel comfortable. The other coaches made me feel comfortable. It was just a good fit. And so I knew in my heart, that's really where I wanted to go. Now, initially, I wound up committing to Notre Dame, but I changed my mind at the last minute and went to Purdue. So
and Purdue had a lot of talent at those times. You were in a very, very talented class. Rod Woodson, the year behind you as well. But you started your first game, I can remember, and you and I know each other because I lived across the hall from you, down the way from you at Wiley Hall when you were a freshman. You had you had a lot of expectations to come in and play, and you started as a DB in the first game against none other than John Elway, right? He was the starting quarterback.
You're breaking up there a little bit.
Okay, I'm sorry about that, but no, I was just saying, your first starting nod was against John Elway as a defensive back. That's a great way to start your career.
Right. Yeah, it was interesting. That a lot of people don't realize. We had 2 quarterbacks on our team that I think probably played about 20 years altogether collectively in the NFL, you know, with Scott Campbell and
Jim
we
Everett.
had Jim Everett. Yeah, Jim Everett.
Yeah.
I couldn't get his name out there. And two great quarterbacks. But you know, Elway was just on a different level, you know. And I remember, you know, he rolled all the way to the right, and then you know, I'm thinking, okay, this guy's not going to throw the ball, so I'm going to slack off a little bit. And you know, he rolled all the way to the right and then threw all the way across the field to the left, you know, to my guy in the end zone. And I'm sitting there thinking, man, who is this guy? You know, and you know, and then he goes on and he's wound up being one of the best quarterbacks ever. So,
what, you know, you've changed after I think it was after your sophomore year, switched to running back, and you were a very talented one. But what went into that process for you? How did you and the coaching staff? What was the dynamics there to make that move?
Well, at the time, you know, we were recruiting, you know, Rod Woodson, and so I didn't know who Rod was. So so Coach, you know, Burnett came and he said, "Look, we got this guy by the name of Rod Woodson. We're bringing him in. He's a really talented guy and everything, but you know, I don't want to throw him to the wolves. So you know, and I think you're probably a better athlete than him. So we're going to move you to corner." You know, move the corner and let him play safety. It'll be a lot easier for him, you know. And I'm thinking, okay, so I'll go ahead and do it. And you know, we had a decent season and everything, but I knew that wasn't really, you know, the ultimate you know, spot for me. You know, of course, you know, we know what happened to Rod. Rod winds up becoming, you know, it was kind of laughable because he's one of the best cornerbacks, best defensive backs in NFL history, you know.
Right.
And he was a 10 times better athlete than I was, you know.
Yeah.
Even in my dreams, you know, this guy was, you know, he's great. But you know, it was just something I just did for the team, but I knew at the end of the season, you know, that I was going to have to make a change because there wasn't too many at that time, 6 foot, 225-pound running backs or cornerbacks. You know. So I knew I was going to have to make a change, and so at the end of the year, we had a bunch of guys get, you know, kicked out or left the program, whatever you want to call it, and most of them were running backs. So it was a big void there, and so I remember going to Leon and saying, hey, you know, I want to switch to running back, and then so we talked a little bit, and then then I wound up making a change, and then here we are. So.
Well, you know, you had in '84, and then of course that was a huge turnaround year. Yourself, Rodney Carter, Bruce King. All of a sudden, you've got and a quarterback named Jim Everett. Take me back maybe to that game and playing in your hometown, game one. And nobody expected you to win against Notre Dame, against a school that recruited you heavily. What do you remember from that one and the opportunity to beat the Fighting Irish in the dedication game of the Hoosier Dome?
Yeah, we really didn't know what to expect. You know, we coming off 2 losing seasons, and you know, but we were pretty hyped up about the game, and you know, we had a good, you know, game plan, and you know, we had you know, the guys are really in tune and focused and ready to play. The one thing I remember was that still today I can say, if somebody asked me what's the loudest game you've ever played in, that was it right there. I mean, it was just constant, you know, you could even hear the guy next to you, even on the sidelines, you could hardly hear because there was, you know, so many people at that game, you know. But, you know, I remember when the clock finally, you know, expired, you know, when we won, it was just, you know, exhilarating. And, you know, that really gave us the confidence for the rest of the year, you know, to wind up, because we wind up, of course, you know, playing Notre Dame, you beat Notre Dame, of course, and then we played Ohio State, and then, you know, also Michigan. So wound up being a catalyst for a good season for us.
Yeah, no team in Purdue history has beat Notre Dame, Ohio State, and Michigan in the same year. You also beat Indiana, go to the Peach Bowl from that standpoint. You got to play with Jim Everett. You had some great games, running games. I can remember maybe it was your senior day game in '85 at Indiana. He had a big running game, well over 100 yards. Talk about that, playing with Jim Everett and Rodney Carter, and a very, very Steve Griffin, Jeff Price, very, very, very potent offense for Purdue.
Yeah, we had of course, we had a lot of talent there. And, I knew that was going to be my last game. And I didn't know how much I was going to get the ball or anything like that. And, I said, well, I'm just going to go out here and just play my heart out,
Yeah.
And, at the time, Jim Everett was they were really touting him as being one of the top draft picks,
Yeah.
So there was probably 25 scouts in the stands,
Yeah.
And so, I said, well, I didn't realize that at the time, and, I didn't realize I was going to have a chance to play pro football either, and I didn't realize that was the day that, really put me on the map, and having that type of game, at that point after the game, I knew I had some scouts come down. I got hurt during the game.
Yeah.
And I hurt my shoulder because I had 140, something like that in the first
148
half.
yards, I think it was. 140,
something like that. Yeah.
Terrific game.
So I remember that, I got hurt and I was on the sidelines and I wanted to get back in the game, and there were a couple of scouts that came down from the stands, and they were like, no, don't go back in. Don't go back in. I said, I didn't know who they were, and they was like, no, you got your ticket. We're going to give you got your ticket. You earned your ticket. And then what they were talking about was to the combine, I didn't realize it at that point, but, that's probably the biggest thing I remember from that game, and it was just, a blessing that I saved my best game for last and wind up getting an opportunity to play in the National Football League.
Yeah, played with Houston, got some great opportunities there. What did you learn? And now you've gone on to a very good business career. Tie all that together, your college experience. What did that teach you in terms of the world of business and being able to run a company like you do and all that experience? What's that takeaway for you today?
Well, football teaches you and sports teach you a lot of things, focus, hard work, planning, anticipation, just always, looking out towards the future, and teamwork and caring, we had a good group of players and coaches that, still, communicate today. I still talk to Leon Burtnett. I still, talk to Ray Sherman, my running back coach. And, that's the one reason why those guys were successful and we were successful because they cared, And you have to be the same way when you're out in your business every day, and you've got to care about your employees. You got to care about, have tenants that I got to care about. And, it's not just business all the time. You got to have feeling and empathy for people. And, that really separates the bottom tier from the top tier.
Yeah, well said. All right. So today is the birthday. Any plans today with the family? I know you've got 2 children and you're married and you're a grandfather, if I'm reading that right. Tell me a little bit about that. Will you, in this wonderful pandemic we're dealing with, is anybody going to be able to get together or how's that going to work?
Well, we're just going to probably, my wife and I are going to probably just do some dinner at home. Normally, we wind up we go out to, downtown Nashville or something like that.
Which is a great place.
Yeah, a great place and have dinner at a restaurant or something like that. But we're just kind of going to pare that down this year and just have dinner at home and just celebrate another birthday.
Yeah, that's a good thing. It's always a good thing, as we all know. And Ray, you're the same guy I remember 38 years ago, first class act, and we really appreciate your time. We'll link also the story that Tom Dienhart wrote on you back on Valentine's Day, I think is when that was on our site. But great chance to get caught up with one of the Boilermaker legends on his 57th birthday. I mean, what could be better than that? Happy birthday to you. Thanks so much for your time. And we'll look forward to staying connected. It's a privilege for me to be able to do that.
All right. My pleasure.
All right. Thank you.
Boiler up.
Boiler.